Yeah, I was driving to this gig the other night in the back. I was running late. I was coming from another gig. Wasn't running late. Oh, anyway, whatever. I was trying to get there, and I was in the. It was a soccer club, right? Now soccer clubs, they're often in
multicultural.
Very multicultural. But I'm trying to find the clubhouse, and it was in the back lots of a suburb, and then I see it, and it's like all lit up, and there's at least 100 cars in front of the clubhouse. I go,
this is it.
This is it. But it was Penfold Mazda. It was a car yard. And the soccer club was behind it with about 10 cars. God, funny. But they were actually a great gig. It was good fun.
Did I ever tell you about the time I was at the car yard on a Sunday?
No, what happened?
You know, you just on a Sunday, you're not going to be hassled by car salesmen, so you just go and look in a few windows.
Yeah.
And there was another couple there, and the guy comes over and says, are you Glenn Robbins? I said, yeah. He goes, I really want to impress that girl over there. Can you, like when I come and say hello, can you pretend you know me?
All right, yeah.
So I went, oh, you're right. So he comes over. His name was the same. His name was Greg. Right? He comes over. He goes, oh, good day, Glenn. I go, oh, good day, Greg. He goes, oh, I just want to introduce you to someone, Glenn. That's my girlfriend. Oh, and the same name was Denise. Yeah. It's Denise. Good day, Denise. How are you? And he goes, Denise, why don't you sing him a couple of country and western songs that you've written, and maybe you might get on TV. I'm going, what? In my head, I'm going, what?
No, thanks.
And then, because I have to go with the lie now, I'm going, I'd love to.
Greg's friend.
So she starts, singing, because I'm home and I'm loving being at home because I love what I do.
What can you do for that?
So I waited for her to hesitate.
You're not Molly Meldrum.
No, I'm not. And then she would hesitate, and then I think, oh, that's the song, and I start to clap. But she just kept on going.
Oh. No, just a cappella. No,
nothing. But yeah, sing another one. Sing another one.
It's terrible.
Just, so you're going to wish out who you talk to. It's hard anyway.
Remember when we were having lunch with Adam Zwar, the
yes,
actor, TV producer? He's moved to Hollywood, and the guy came up to him and said, "Oh, could you read my script?" and handed him or was it give it to you?
No, it wasn't me. It was you. It was you and
Adam. Adam. It was like on a stick.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And Adam's like, oh, and there's a line you got to say I can't read that. Well, the problem is if you read that and you've got a similar idea.
That's exactly what I say.
Yeah. Well, that's
the thing.
It's a legal problem.
I say my lawyer won't let me read it because if I've got, let's say the idea was about ducks. Yeah. That are flying south for the winter or the summer.
The great Glenn Robbins duck movie.
Oh, the duck movie. It's a great movie. Yeah. And you have a movie about seagulls.
Yeah.
And the seagull movie, and then you watch my duck movie, you go, he's stolen.
It's just the same idea.
Same idea. So you can't, even if you read it, you could unconsciously steal it. So you have to. I have friends of mine say, I've got some ideas for, I think it was Russell Coit. And I go, you know what, you can't tell me. And he goes, oh, my cousin, because it's from his cousin, right?
Yeah, you can't.
My cousin had an idea and said, can you pass it on to Glenn? No. And I'm going, I don't want to hear it.
No,
he goes, and then he would go, oh, I'm just going to tell you. I go, I don't want to hear it. I can't hear it. So you can't put your fingers in your ears and go, la, 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 la. He goes, now I've told you. Now I can go back and tell him that I told you.
Yeah, it's no good.
Now I'm going to get sued. I might get, because people who got sued, I think Spielberg got sued for that very reason.
Yeah.
I had a guy writing to me for a while, I won't say, but he was taking claim of a lot of big, he was crazy, but taking claim to a lot of big, and I won't say the company, but it was someone I work with. And it's kind of scary because you're going, if you can think that, what else can you think that, I'm the devil or something?
My brother used to work in a warehouse with a guy who claimed that he wrote all of Casey and the Sunshine's big hits. And they had the radio playing, and so when no, baby, give it up, he'd get really angry and throw boxes around. Wrote this song. Wrote this. I won't give it up. No.
But do you have that thing where you do come up with a joke that is so simple and so obvious? Yeah. You're going, that is so obvious. Surely someone's already written that joke.
Yeah. And but also you watch TV shows and you go, I had this same idea.
I had the same idea.
For this TV. But
why didn't I pursue it?
Yeah, but they got off their arse and did something. That's the difference.
That's right. We go up for burgers.
They had the resources or whatever. They went and did something. Yeah.
And to get an idea up, I spoke to someone yesterday. She goes, I've been snowed under because I'm trying to get a business up. It's a lot of hard work.
It is.
You got to really, really, really love the idea.
It is.
Because it's a weight loss program.
Oh, and also you can work, like I remember one of my friends had this really good idea for a movie something like about a pair of shoes that make you magic or something like that.
I had that idea.
Yeah. And then he got it to a certain level, and then a Hollywood movie came out with exactly the same idea.
Oh, magic shoes. Yeah, well, that's already been done.
That was my idea.
And that's the thing is, as you have your little idea, it's like a little baby duck. And you've got to protect it all the way through because the investors will get onto you, the production companies, the
people are always hassling us about this show. Just got to change this,
get it to TV. We want to do a movie version.
Get a puppet in there with you guys.
Yeah, get it.
Who used to do the joke? I don't think he does stand up anymore. Steve Jackson used to do the joke about how you on the end of every movie it says, this movie is not based on any factual or real incidents. That's why they put it in there, at the end. And so
people can't.
Yeah, so it's like when you're watching Star Wars and you're like, hang on a minute, this reminds me of the time I took over the galaxy. It's a great
when
joke.
You sit around with a bunch of comedians and everyone's riffing, so to speak, and a topic will come up and then someone will make it, you'll say something.
It's like, can I use that? I'm going to use that.
Yeah, can I? Yeah. Good comedians go like, can I use that? No, yeah, it's yours. Yeah. Or competitors go, I'm taking that.
Yeah. And then they're on stage and they're doing it.
Because I've told friends stories of my life and then they've done them on stage as though it happened to them.
Oh no, that's bad.
That's bad.
That's happened to a few comedians, Or what about this one? This happened to another comedian where you were there at an incident where where they got drunk and fell asleep and then they started telling the story, but also so the comic watching started telling the story of what happened. Yeah. But then the comic who had actually happened to told the story as well. Now, who's got ownership? Because it's the same story.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, who's got ownership?
Well, I had that happen to me on radio where I did something that I wasn't proud of. I did the thing where I went to a wedding, but I didn't go to the wedding. I just went to the wake. Not the wake.
Reception. Well, it's like a wake sometimes. Yep.
Marriage, an exploding cigar that you willingly smoke. Yeah. And he talked about it on radio, and I'm going, that's not yours to talk about.
Ah, right.
He said, and Glenn Robbins didn't turn up to the thing, and he didn't. I went, you can't.
But was it his wedding?
No.
Oh, it's another guy. Oh, no. That's
and he didn't even go to the wedding. He didn't even go to the event. He just heard that I didn't go. And then the people who got married heard that. And then I felt embarrassed going,
What's worse is when it gets reported in the newspaper.
Oh, in the paper.
I was late for Hughes's wedding.
Oh, made the paper, did it?
Yeah, well, look, to be fair, my wife was breastfeeding one of our kids at the time. Oh, yeah, I'm like, we got to go, but the baby's latched on. It's not like, won't get off the boob. And so we go, but unfortunately it was at, where was it? His wedding was at Flemington on New Year's Eve, right? Cheap rates, and easy to remember his wedding anniversary, New Year's Eve. And so they were getting married in the garden, but the only entrance to the garden was to walk behind the bride and the groom. So they're standing there with the celebrant. Me and Kieran walk up, and we're standing there, and all the people are beyond it. And he just goes, just go, mate, just go in, just get in there. Because he's marrying a journalist, so there's journalists there.
Oh, of course.
It's reported. Reported.
Oh, I went to the movies one day by myself.
Well, that's right. That was reported.
Uncle Art, was it? Kel Knight couldn't get a date.
I love it.
He's just going.
At least you didn't do a Pee Wee Herman and, you know what happened to Paul Rubens.
That's not a bad idea. No.
He was in a pornography cinema too when he was caught. Gee, he was bad. That was bad timing. So this is the guy who does Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, I know. He masturbated up the back of it. Which, we all think.
But also it was pre-internet, so you know what I mean? He obviously had to leave the house if he wanted to see that kind of action on the screen.
I find it interesting. Are those shops that the shop? What are they? Porn
Triple X shops. Yeah.
Are they making any money? What?
Yeah. What do they do now?
Because if you want pornography,
how's Sexyland making its money?
It must be
apparel.
It must be
items.
I was in there one day, and it was really embarrassing because I was at what was I buying? No.
What were you buying?
That's a good point. What was I buying? What was I in there for? Oh, that's right, because I was going to a fancy dress. Yeah, no, I would never be buying anything else. I had to buy some funny stuff. Yeah. But there was a girl next to me buying
stuff.
A thing.
Items that you put batteries in?
That you put batteries in. And she was buying it like a pair of gloves or something. She was going, and they were under the glass.
Yeah.
And they're pulling, and I'm going,
like jewellery.
Yeah, she's going, what's this one do?
This piece, madam.
You want to try this one? not try it, but and I'm going. I shouldn't be here because she's having a
No, intimate moment.
I should walk around, and wherever you go into those shops, you look sus.
Yeah, I know. You look dodgy, especially as a man.
You can't look not dodgy in one of those shops. But are there still cinemas that show dirty movies?
Yeah, there used to be in Melbourne. There used to be the Barrel and the Shaft.
Yeah,
I don't think they're there anymore.
Crazy Horse.
Crazy Horse. Yeah.
How do we know those so well?
Well, you'd walk past as teenagers, go in there. You go in there. I'm not going in there. You go in there.
Well,
I never went in there. I wish
Did I?
Did you go in the Barrel?
We went. We were going to this. We were going to the theatre one night. The whole family was going. And my brothers and I got there early, and there just happened to be one of those shops next to the theatre.
Yeah.
So we all went in together.
Yeah.
And just as we walked out, my parents came past with her uncle and auntie, and they went, "Oh, I know what you do. You were just hiding in the door, pretending that you'd come out of there." We went, "Yeah. We weren't in there. We were just pretending." Absolutely.
Pretending. All right, here comes the music.
Hello and welcome to Somehow Related, and now please welcome your hosts Glenn Robbins and Dave O'Neill.
All right, well, welcome to the show.
Welcome aboard.
It's going to be a good one.
If this was a ship, we'd be
We're sailing towards the sunset.
sailing. Would you
Getting
go?
towards the end
Would
of the
you
year.
ever sail to the south to Antarctica or something?
Oh, I'd love to.
Oh, so would I.
Love to do that.
I know that they get. Would you
Gonna
sail?
build-
But if I said to you, you could fly down. Would you fly down? Or you'd rather go because you get. I reckon the chances of getting seasick are pretty good
Oh, really?
because you're hitting. Well, that's where they make the bad weather down there. They
Yeah.
make the bad weather down there and send it up.
It's one place I'd love to go to, but I don't know.
Casey.
Yeah, land. Is it the base? Is it?
Yeah, that's the
or-
base, I think.
Right.
Yeah, that's where I got invited. That's where I did That's where they contacted me and got me to do a tape for them.
Ah,
Russell
yeah.
Quinn. I did a Christmas tape for them. Well, I loved it.
I know. Tommy Little's been there. Rusty Bertha's been there.
How did they get to go there?
They do a marathon where you run in Antarctica,
Oh, that'd be right.
and you get a plane. I think to get.
Yeah, I think you can get a plane in summer, but you can't in winter. But I think they're putting. I think next
building a-
year
they're building
building
an
an airport that I'm suspecting there's a bit more year-round business in it. Because you can fly down there and fly around, look out the window, and come back.
I've done that. Yeah.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, on Nova.
How
we
was
gave it away. Yeah, it was good, but it's an 11-hour flight.
I mean, that's a
big
serious.
I went on a Sunday. I remember it, but we flew really low, and you could see Mawson's hut, and you could see all the stuff.
wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. I don't know if it's his hut or someone's hut. You could see the bases and stuff. Yeah, it was great. But then I'd get back, and the hostie goes, "Yeah, one of these planes crashed one day." I'm like, "What?"
She shouldn't be saying that.
Air New Zealand flight. It was a 20-year anniversary the other day. In bad weather, they were on the same flight where they just fly over Antarctica. They don't land, and it crashed
There was
into
a
a
pointy
mountain.
one. There was a pointy one sticking up that they didn't realise was there.
Oh, hideous.
I flew into New Zealand, and they asked me to go up in the cockpit back in the day when you can go in the cockpit. And then they're having a chat. They literally said, "Do you want to go to the left of the mountain or do you want to go to the right of the mountain?" And I went, "Why? Why you just say what you're saying is there's a wrong side and there's a right side?"
Yeah.
I said, "I don't want to hear this. I want you to just push the
man.
down button and land us properly." I think where were we landing? Queenstown, maybe. That's got a lot of mountains around it.
Yes.
Queenstown?
Yes. Queenstown, a lot of mountains. Yes.
Anyway, I don't know how we got onto that.
All right. Well, we should get our topics, shouldn't we? We get two topics.
Yes.
Got to work out how they're related. Here we go.
Former Prime Minister Gough, Whitlam and school milk.
Well, may they say, Glenn. Well, may they say.
well, may
God
they-
save the Queen.
Because nothing
Nothing
will save the
Governor
Governor
General.
General. There's our
Gotta
thinking
say.
music.
Oh, yeah. I got to say, I love Gough Whitlam. I always loved
You'd
him.
be look.
Gough fan.
Now, what was he? 72 to 75. So it
Yeah,
wasn't
not,
in
not
long.
for a long time, but he had
No.
a big build up, and I remember my dad and mum going to a Gough rally. So my parents weren't.
That's
that,
where you got it from. That's where you got your
politics. Well, my parents weren't that political, but they're very Labor. Dad always used to claim he didn't know anyone who voted Liberal. Like he used to make this claim around the house. "Oh, we don't know anyone who votes Liberal." And then the chemist put a poster of Malcolm Fraser up, and "We're not coming there ever again. Never." But I remember him him and Mum going to hear Gough speak. I remember when Gough got sacked. I came home, my brother was crying. My older brother was crying.
Wow, you were.
And I thought the cat had died.
Die hard.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
he goes,
thought the
Gough's
cat had
been
died.
sacked.
He was crying.
He was crying. Yeah. Yeah,
What was his legacy? What was some of the stuff he did that was incredible? Nuclear testing.
Pulled out of Vietnam.
Yeah.
Pulled out of Vietnam. Also,
Healthcare, university, free education,
which me and you benefited from.
Absolutely. I got paid to go to university.
Yeah, you got that Ostart or whatever it was called.
Whatever it was.
It's
Yeah.
incredible when you think about that
Yeah,
now.
incredible. You get paid to go to school.
And it was a very short period of free education, because I reckon it went from, say, 73 to
mid-80s or early
I reckon
80s?
88, 89.
Yeah, but that's
Because I did a
that's my window.
second degree,
Yeah.
and I got HEX in the 90s. I got HEX early 90. I got HEX. So I reckon 89. I got HEX.
So if you obviously got rid of that debt,
Oh, it was a very small debt because I only got 1 year of HEX.
right?
I got 1 year of HEX. So on like a part-time degree. So, but we were very lucky. But there was a great article. I can't remember what it was about how, because up until that point, university was very elite. You know what I mean? People growing up where no one talked about university.
No, you all went in. You all just went straight in, didn't you?
Trades or whatever, and no one knew about university. But Gough made it more egalitarian, made it free, and so all people started going. University numbers increased, and so he created all these young people that became politicians who benefited from free university. Who then, when they got into power, they bloody created HEX. And as someone said, they pulled the ladder up.
Yeah,
which I love. I love the.
Didn't you
pulled the ladder up?
Didn't you get it for free? Oh yeah, don't worry about that.
I love it. I just love that saying. And the only other way I've ever seen that used was when Ando was asked about the current refugee situation in the paper, in the Herald Sun or somewhere, and he said, "Look, that's really a matter for the government to decide." And Simon Palomares.
Yeah.
Put it on Facebook. He's another ethnic comedian. He said, he's pulled the ladder up. I'm all right, Jack.
Yeah. Yeah, well, look,
Pulled the ladder up. I'm going to try and use that in more everyday quotes.
Pull the ladder up is a really...
You pulled the ladder up, haven't you?
Yeah, that's a really good metaphor, isn't it? Didn't he abolish the death penalty?
Oh, yeah, did he?
Yeah, I think he did.
Oh, my God, I didn't know that.
Who was the last one to be... Ronald Ryan,
Ryan,
which we studied in legal studies at school.
Yeah.
It's debatable whether he killed anyone.
Oh, that's a terrible thing about the death penalty.
Yeah.
Often, like in America, they reckon there's a certain percentage of people that get killed that didn't do their crimes.
Even, and then like with DNA and stuff, and it still can go wrong.
Terrible. What else did
lowered the voting age. I
yeah.
think he did.
Medicare? Was he Medicare?
Yes, he was. Yeah. Land rights.
Land rights, yeah. That's
God.
true. He did a lot. But because up until that point, I mean, he was interesting, Gough Whitlam, wasn't he? Did you ever meet him? Did you ever meet Gough?
Did he ever get to meet me?
Yeah, did he ever get to meet you?
No. But Gary McDonald, Norman Gunston was on the steps for that moment.
Yes.
Where he made that famous speech.
And someone, I think it was Bob Hawke or someone was standing next to him, said, mate, I think this is a little bit serious.
Yeah.
Someone says to him, it's a little bit serious, mate, for your shenanigans.
I like it.
Listen, mate, just go. No, Gough Whitlam was on the same plane as me once, but he was up the front end. I saw him at the airport.
He's very tall.
Him and Margaret were both on the plane.
Very tall.
And they were going to Italy. I can't remember. I don't think I spoke to him. They were going to. I was on an Air Italian plane from Melbourne to Rome, and he was up the front end, and they were going on an art tour or something. Apparently, there was quite a bunch of them, like about 15 of them all together. But it was definitely Gough Whitlam.
And you would have.
Oh, I would have loved to. I don't think I said hello. I couldn't.
No, you wouldn't have. But would you now? Would you now?
Yeah, for sure. He's dead.
Would you do a selfie?
No,
probably not. They love the selfies nowadays.
Yeah, some people do.
Scott Morrison, you see him. I remember.
Scamo.
Yeah.
I met him. Yeah, I met him this time last year when I was filling it on Nova.
And you were not a fan, but then he was quite nice to you. He was a fan of yours, is that right?
No, not a fan of mine.
No?
He was a massive fan of Sam Pang's. It was hilarious.
Ah.
So Pang's, Pang's like any comedian, probably, Labor voter. I'm guessing, but the questions he asks on the opinions he has, he's not right wing. He's a left wing person, Sam Pang. And ScoMo comes in and he's just like, he just ignores me and Chrissy and goes straight to Penn and goes, "Oh, mate, how are you? We love your show every Monday night. Me and the wife and the kids, we love it, mate. We love it. We love you, Sam. You're a very funny man." And then he just puts on the headphones and Pang's like, "Oh, right, okay, I got some questions." And this is the genius of Sam Pang. He goes, "I didn't write these questions, but I was at a fete last night, and some 10-year-olds, I asked them to write questions for the Prime Minister." But they were very intricate. It had, "How do you intend to be the Prime Minister when you have right-wing, fascists in your backbench stabbing you in the back constantly?" And Scott Scummo's like, "Oh, Sam, I don't think a 10-year-old wrote that question. I don't think so." But the other thing that struck me about Scott Morrison, he's big. He's a big unit. He's bigger than me.
Tall.
He looks like a bouncer. Yeah,
Heavy.
big.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
Quite intimidating.
And he's quite religious, is he not?
Oh, yeah, he's Pentecostal Christian.
Yeah.
Yep.
I bet
He said he was a Christian about 8 times in the interview. I'm a Christian.
we had Beasley on the panel.
Oh,
and what's interesting is you may not, with the radio, you probably don't get this as much, but you have there's a green room where you all hang out, and before you go on, it's what people are like before the red light goes on.
Yeah.
You're going, that's what you should be when the red light goes on. Then when the red light goes on, they turn into Mr. Politician.
Yeah, he's quite charming.
Or they try to be funny, or they try to be playful. And look, it's hard for them because they don't want to be too polly, and they don't want to be too funny, and they don't want to be
too flippant though.
No,
get picked up on.
So it's they're playing on your field a little bit, and not you want to make them look stupid, but I imagine it's quite hard if you want to get your point across.
Oh yeah, it'd be quite hard.
So what happened with Gough? He got blocked. Supply got blocked.
Yeah,
didn't it?
then they sacked him basically.
But Fraser went to
John Kerr.
Went to John Kerr,
who was the Governor General.
And
who
then
is the Queen's representative in Australia.
Yes, of course. But some have I read this recently where someone had said that he could have said no. He could have said no.
But
you know what? I'm not going.
But he was also, I'm pretty sure he was appointed by Whitlam, wasn't he, Kerr? And he was sort of a bit of a turncoat. He sort of, I remember he famously got drunk at the races. John
Kerr. I remember seeing sketches on Fast Forward about that. It's very funny. Because he could have said, block supply, because supply was blocked in the upper house, correct?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because they must have had power in the upper house.
Yeah.
And so therefore he's got no money, therefore he can't. And then Fraser said he's got no money, you got to get rid of him. Was he that's not impeachment, what do you call it? Sacking. Basically it's a sacking, isn't it? Is that what you call it?
Dismissal.
Yeah, dismissal, yeah. So he could have said, okay, you don't give me any money, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm still remaining Prime Minister. And he could have gone in the trenches and fought it out.
Oh, really?
Well, I'm sure there are people who know better than me, but you have to wonder if you would have to you would have to say, yes, I'm going. Or does the Queen have the representative Queen have the right to say no?
Well, and then Gough became the opposition leader for quite some time too.
Oh, he stayed, did he?
Yeah, I think he stayed. I'm pretty sure he stayed.
That's interesting. So you can be sacked, but you still... Yeah.
Oh, even worse. Like Rudd and Abbott, they get sacked from the Prime Minister job and then they stay in as a backbencher.
No, it's not.
As I used to do this in stand-up, I say, if at any other organisation, if you were at Red Rooster, you're not going to, if you go to Red Rooster and you're just still hanging around, you've been sacked, but you're still wearing your uniform and turning up to work.
True.
It's like someone would have rung your mum at some stage and gone, Tony and Kevin are still here. They're just hanging around.
If you're number one, because I always imagine what happens in the lunchroom. So I reckon if you're the captain of the ship, you probably get your lunch brought to you. But if you're not, I reckon they've got a cafeteria. I reckon you'd line up with trays. They have a
cafeteria, yeah.
If you're a backbencher, you'd line up with a tray and slide it down, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And you'd pick it off a glass.
Yeah.
And I reckon, as I said to someone, I think it was Penny Wong, do you chat to each other in the line at the canteen? He goes, oh, yeah. We talk.
Yeah.
That's a spot where you can go, well, that was a lot of bullshit you just did.
Yeah.
Then they go, oh, yeah, whatever. I was just playing the game. But that'd be embarrassing if you're next. And then you line it up with a tray.
I know. I still maintain when Kevin Rudd, when he was sacked as Prime Minister, but he still went overseas and did stuff, pretty sure he was still telling the taxi drivers and and the guy getting his bags, hello, Prime Minister. He's not correcting him, is he?
No.
But actually, I'm not Prime Minister at the moment.
I was walking down the beach in Queensland. I've told you the story. Walking down the beach, and then he was walking with his son the other way.
Oh, K-Rudd.
Yeah, and K-Rudd and his son, because he's from Queensland.
He's from Nambour.
And we walked past each other, and it was like that thing where you go beat, 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 and then you both click who it is, and we both turned and looked at each other at the same time.
No.
He's gone, that's Russell Court, and I've gone, that's Rudd. And we both then had to pretend that we were looking at, something else. But that was my
Well,
only
he
brush
offered
with
great
him.
promise for a while, Rudd, but he was too much of a micromanager, they reckon.
Kevin 07?
Kevin 07, very good.
Kevin 07, that's a long time ago, isn't it?
Yeah, he got in, and then they got rid of him, and Julia was in, and then he got rid of
her.
Julia.
That
came back.
That what was that? It wasn't the Killing Fields. What was that documentary series?
That was great.
Fantastic, one of the best.
Yeah.
I mean, you really get a sense of what happens in the trenches when you realise what goes on.
Well, one of my friends, one of the girls I work with in radio's boyfriend worked for Rudd and said he was incredible micromanager.
Well, that was his problem. I don't think he knew how to delegate.
So they were sitting in the Air Force One plane in the Sydney airport to go back to Canberra, and Rudd's like, "Where's Joel?" Joel was the defence minister. I don't know. He's supposed to be here. Ring him. Someone ring him. So no, I'll ring him. And so he rings him. Joel, where are you? Oh, I'm going to miss the plane. Well, you've got to come back to Canberra. He goes, you can't come on our plane. You got to get a Qantas flight. He's like, yeah, that's cool. He goes, no, I'll book it. I'll book it for you now. Wow. And so they sat there on the tarmac while Rudd booked a flight for their defence minister. Now, that's not appropriate.
Remember when he did that thing where he had to speak and the words were quite hard and then he got really shitty? What did he say? He said something that
was a blooper thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, he goes, this fucking guy. Like, he's just going, oh, dear. You're rolling camera on that. Don't be doing that. Because he could speak Mandarin, couldn't he?
Oh, yeah. Quite smart, Kevin Rudd. Quite smart.
That's kind of cool.
I'm always amazed how quickly they get, like when they got rid of Turnbull. He was Prime Minister one minute, then he's just sacked and walking down the street in New York the next. Like, I'm not Prime Minister anymore.
I know.
It's amazing.
It's like you sold the key, you sold the house. Here's the keys, and you just you move on. See ya. He still pops up occasionally with opinion. And
I know, but it doesn't happen in hardly any other industry. Except radio, it does. You get sacked, or footy coaches too. They get sacked. They're out the door. And get a big payout.
Because my brother gets his hair cut at the same barber as Turnbull.
Oh, really? Does he see him in there?
I don't know, but I think the barber dines out on it. He dines out. Can I have the Tony? So when he'd been sacked, he'd go, I don't want the Turnbull haircut today.
What would be if you had such a full on job? I remember Steve Bracks. Hello, everyone. I've joined Glenn and Dave here. I'm a former Victorian Premier, guys. He was a Premier for a long time, right? And then he had some family issues.
Yeah. And
he resigned. No one knew he was going to resign. So, normally in politics there's talk and you get stabbed in the back. And he just resigned. And the next day he was gone. And I saw him riding his bike the day after he resigned down Footscray Road. And he looked so happy. He's free.
He's free.
So, of course, I drove past in the car and yelled, Braxy!
Did you really?
Yeah, he gave a thumbs up.
Because this is naive. He would have made enough money to say, see you later. Yeah?
Yeah, and I saw him at a function and I said, what are you doing now? And he's like, I'm working for East Timor. I'm over there doing some stuff and advising them. And some boards and committees.
Who pays him to do that?
Oh, someone will be paying the East Timorese government.
I see. So advise in governmental
advising and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, so can you come in and have a look at the books, kind of thing? Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be fun. It'd be all fun, no responsibility.
I saw him in New Zealand. So this is a bizarre story, but I went over to New Zealand. This is a long time ago for the release of the last Lord of the Rings movie. When my son was about 3 months old.
You didn't go over there for that.
Yeah, I was working on radio.
So they sent you to New Zealand for that?
Yeah, there was about 4 or 5 other journalists, in inverted commas, other radio people over there from Melbourne. There was quite a few people over there.
Oh, good gig.
There was a guy from ABC, there was a guy from Fire, I was the guy from Nova, and Braxy was there in the foyer. And he goes, hello, Dave. He was still a Premier. I go, what are you doing here? Braxy goes, we're trying to drive business with New Zealand. It seems to be quite something on here today. I'm like, it's a new Lord of the Rings movie, Braxy. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, right. So there's Gandalf over there. It was great because you'd be sitting in the foyer and just Gandalf would come down. Liv Tyler came down. All the hobbits.
Oh, so you were up close and personal.
Yeah, because it's New Zealand. And this was just before mobile phones. And this was what year would have been? It would have been. When was my son born? Good question. 2003, around that kind of era.
So did you get to chat?
Oh, yeah, I did a lot of interviews. I didn't play a lot of them on the radio, but I just
have a chat.
Yeah, it was great.
You'd be good at that.
Well, I'm not. My partner's a huge Lord of the Rings fan, so I sort of knew through her. But it was in Wellington. You been to Wellington in New Zealand?
No.
Yeah, it's cute.
I was just in Auckland last week, whatever, playing golf, yeah, whatever.
With ping pong pang.
Yeah. Ping pong pang. Of course,
I've started calling him that.
The show.
And that, of course, came from when Russell Coit went on. Have you been paying attention?
Yes. Oh, that's. And I know you. You're saying ping pong, pang pong.
Now I've started just using it in general. And my kids are like, "Isn't that racist, Dad?" Oh no, it was from Russell Coit.
If ever in doubt, always blame Russell Coit for being inappropriate. Gough Whitlam, top bloke, loved him. 70s.
Did you see that documentary on the dismissal though? It was really sad. And the last quote was from Gough, and he just said, he was just really sad about being sacked as a Prime Minister. He said, "Oh yeah, but what can you do?"
What would you rather though? Would you rather be sacked or voted out by the people?
Yeah, you'd rather be voted out, I reckon.
Really?
I reckon he would have
got
got
one more. That means the people don't like you, whereas sacked, you're a victim of the system.
True, and you're like, you never know. And I reckon he would have got one more term, I reckon.
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
He may not have got a third term, but most Prime Ministers tend to get a second term. So, then Fraser came in. And then Fraser ended up being a great bloke, and they were friends in the end, which is hilarious.
Did you know he was big on sewerage?
Who? Gough?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
For areas that didn't have sewage, there were areas that didn't. I don't know how they existed. How would you not have sewage in certain areas? Anyway.
Well, no, you'd have the dunny run, like we used to. Nana used to have.
Not in the 70s.
Oh, some country
Really?
areas probably would have had the dunny run. So
What?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I assume so. So a bloke
I
would
must
come
admit,
around.
my auntie's place up the country, it had, oh, God, it was awful.
A nightman.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's a job. There's a job.
Yeah, the dunny run guy. So for people who don't know, in the 60s, up until the 60s or
and
50s,
I reckon,
maybe the 70s in some really poor areas, a guy would come on, it used to be a horse and cart, and just empty the toilets. And that's why the toilets are out the back, because you go down the laneway.
Yeah. We shot Russell Coit up on a property up near Seymour, and they had one of those. They didn't have
the drop hit.
Oh.
Yeah, so yeah, flies.
And it was a long one.
Yeah.
Long one's not so bad.
Not so bad. You can't hear anything. Yeah.
But you do feel like you're flying over a foreign country and your bombs away.
Terrible.
Sorry to talk about toilet again. Anyway, milk.
School milk. Oh,
well, I'm from that.
I am too.
It was a window, wasn't it? Was it a window of about mid-50s?
Yeah, Menzies
to mid-70s.
Bought in, I think. Yeah, and I used to like it. I know, I used to do jokes about how it was kept out in the sun.
Oh, yeah.
It was kept out in the sun and it was warm when you'd get it.
Yeah, and then kids that have that milky thing in them at recess, kids that have that milk in the corner of their mouth, or they'd have the milk mustache.
Yeah.
Or warm, and it would get...
but we got one each though, didn't we? We got a little bottle each.
One little bottle each, yeah.
And
you had to drink it before you went out to, first play time?
Lunch, yeah, first play lunch.
Yeah.
Remember that? I was telling the kids the other day, we used to have afternoon play lunch too.
Yeah.
They don't have that anymore.
No, so now you have morning.
Yeah,
well, like secondary school, we just had more. Yeah, we had an afternoon one, which was
primary school, yeah.
Which is a smart thing to do because we should be out in the fresh air. Should be running around.
Yeah, get them out there.
Get the body moving, But it meant that you did, anyway, spend a lot of time outside, which was good. But yeah, the milk, and on a hot day.
Oh, did you have red lids or green lids? Remember the
good
foil?
Question.
The foil lids were green or red, I think.
And what was your method for taking the lid off?
Some kids would poke their finger in it.
There was the poke, and some people would do the rip off. Sometimes. So now, what was the straw scenario?
I reckon we did get straws.
Do you reckon? Because I reckon maybe we did. We didn't.
I don't reckon we did. I reckon you just
I
had
reckon
to
you
drink it.
pull it and bang and just neck it.
And did you have a nap? I remember having a nap in prep and stuff.
Oh yeah, where you just put your head down on the desk.
No, we used to have like a mats with
but that was in
kinder.
That was in kinder and like first grade.
I still remember in prep though having a nap. I tell my kids now they can't believe it. We always used to lie down on the mat and sleep.
And I'm going to go outside for a cigarette. Why was it? It was
milk must have been just
like the
nutrition.
Yep.
So like a poverty buster kind of thing. Like nowadays they have breakfast in some poor schools.
Let's just imagine if they brought it back now.
Yeah.
All the variations.
All the allergies.
You'd have allergies, but you'd also have
almond milk.
Who's got almond? Who's got oat? Who's got
soy?
Coconut? Hey, yes, sir, I've got a coconut. Skinny,
you couldn't do it now.
soy,
Skinny, soy, almond. You couldn't do it now. It'd be
extra hot.
A2. Who wants A2? Who wants A1? Who was permeate free? Any permeate free?
Oh, it'd be hard work. My son, the other day, was given real milk.
Yeah.
I insisted that he had almond milk because the almond. You did a gig for the almond people, didn't you?
Yeah, the almond farmers.
And they laugh how many almonds are in almond milk. It's like about 2 almonds per.
I know, but
litre.
it's like a waste product that's been turned into a it's a genius idea.
It's a genius idea.
Genius. But it's anyway. I used to love the milk. I didn't care. I know people really criticised it and stuff, but it was definitely part of growing up in the 70s.
Well, it was something you associated. It was always there, and I reckon it was a coveted job to be
the milk monitor. Milk monitor. Ooh.
And it was. I remember being in a crate.
Yes, in a metal crate.
Metal crate,
yes.
Not a plastic crate, because it'd be plastic now. It was metal.
I remember clear picture of us seeing on the steps.
On the steps
in the sun.
Yeah, in the sun, so the milkman would have come around at probably just
4 a.m., 5 a.m. kind of.
No, it wasn't sitting there. It wasn't sitting there before we went into class, was it?
Oh, you reckon he came at 9?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. He must. It couldn't have been to sit.
You know what? He may have done because the milkman used to do his normal run, which was to houses.
Yeah.
And that was all sort of around 8 a.m., wasn't it? 7, 8 a.m., wasn't
Houses, no, I thought houses was before light.
Yeah. And so maybe he did the schools last. I can remember in Mitcham, where I grew up, we still had a horse and cart milkman, and it must have been the late 60s, early 70s. And I remember my brother would get a lift on it to the kinder. He would give him a lift.
Good gig.
But that was in the 70s.
God, I'm just realising how old we sound.
Early 70s, the horse and cart.
Oh, I remember that.
I talked about it on the radio once, and people, thought I was imagining it, but people rang up and said, yeah, there were still horses and carts in the early 70s doing milk runs.
Yeah, our place. I reckon, yeah, very early 70s. I don't reckon that much after that. And then I reckon milk delivery kind of stopped.
It must have stopped, right, I reckon.
Stopped when the horses went, so did the milk delivery.
Yeah, there was the classic milkman. Remember
Did you put the bottles out?
Yeah.
I used to put the bottles out. Oh, God,
remember the Benny Hill song, Ernie, the milkman of the West. That was a number 1 hit.
What was it?
Ernie. Of course, it was a dirty sort of song, wasn't it? Or
I wonder if we could get
Gav. Remember Gav up the mushrooms, poured a man apart. We must have had a Benny Hill record because I can remember all the songs. Ernie, the milkman of the West, or something it was called, like a number 1.
Could we have that as thinking music?
Yeah, you can have.
I reckon we'll let Sam choose either. Are we ready for the thinking music? Probably are actually. We'll either have Sam can get us. How long was the speech for?
Gough. I should have the Gough Whitlam speech.
You want the Gough Whitlam speech?
I have the Gough Whitlam speech.
Okay. Because is that
what will they say?
God save the Queen.
God save the Queen.
But did anything come after that?
But nothing.
Nothing will say.
I've watched it. I watched it recently. Actually, I don't know why I was watching it, but there is a bit of stuff. I think, yeah. By memory, I can't remember. But you can go to the old Parliament. It's a great tour. You can go to the old Parliament House.
It would be good.
And you can stand on the steps. I stood on the steps and did it. Much to the embarrassment of my children and partner. Well, both those play. This is where he did it.
He was in his time very impersonatable, was he not?
Oh, it would have been.
He was an easy one to do. He was kind of, you could do Gough.
Hawk. Those are the days when Hawk was easy. Howard. But ScoMo, how do you do ScoMo?
ScoMo's pretty good.
ScoMo's sort of like this.
That's pretty good.
Is he?
Yeah.
Sort of like this.
Yeah.
You know, the most disturbing thing I ever read about ScoMo is that he's got almost exactly the same music taste as me. His first record was the same record that I got. So
how old is he?
He's my age. He must be 54 or 55. His first record was Midnight Oil, Place Without a Postcard.
You're wearing a Midnight Oil t-shirt.
I'm wearing a Midnight Oil t-shirt now. And that was my first record, Place Without a Postcard. And he loved the Sunny Boys. He loved he loved all the bands that I love.
Do you want to know what my first one was?
Oh, Benny Hill, Ernie the Milkman song.
It's really embarrassing.
What is it?
Puppet on a String, Petula Clark.
Good song though.
Like a puppet on a string. I wanted to be like everyone else because everyone would go out and buy singles, and I didn't.
Yes.
And then it was, of course, it was the Beatles. Everyone was buying the Beatles singles.
Well, I remember my first single was a Skyhooks single, $1 Million Riff. But my first album was definitely the Midnight Oil.
You know, I sang with them, the Skyhawks.
Oh, I know. They got you up.
And what's his name? Adam Hills said to me, they're not called the Skyhawks, they're called Skyhawks.
Oh, there you go.
He picked me up on television.
To be corrected.
I've never
forgotten
him for
that.
Yeah, I sang as Uncle Arthur on stage.
That's right. The Liger Street Shuffle, was it?
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
No.
And now we've got someone to sing, and I came out as Uncle Arthur, and the crowd are going, I think this is entertaining.
Well, I think for the first 20 seconds
it would have been
funny.
okay.
Yeah.
But then I'll probably step back and play the tambourine or something.
Oh, you'd hope
and then probably
so.
touch someone inappropriately and then got off. But it was fun. The late great Shirley Strawn was there.
Man, everyone.
A great man. So hang on.
Let's have some thinking music.
Okay, well let's go.
Here we
for
go.
Speech on the steps.
Well, may we say, God save the Queen. Because nothing will save the Governor-General. The proclamation which you have just heard read by the Governor-General's official secretary was countersigned Malcolm Fraser. Who will undoubtedly go down in Australian history from Remembrance Day 1975 as Kerr's Kerr.
It's a moment in history.
Oh,
Well, may they say...
I'm just trying to think. I don't know. Have there been other speeches like that? Other.
Howard did the famous Tampa speech when he said, "We will decide who and why comes into our country." That's a famous one.
What about Gillard when she was?
The misogynist speech.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Unbelievable.
How dare you?
Yeah.
That was
Kevin
great.
Rudd's sorry speech was good.
Yeah.
I'd like to say sorry. Yeah, that was a very good one when he did the sorry speech. And Turnbull when he...
But they all do them at the little window now, don't they? They step out. They step
Turnbull
out the
making-
door and they have a lectern.
Abbott? Surely Abbott would
Because we
have.
had a period there where it was a revolving door.
Oh, man. My mum, who's in her 80s, went to have an Alzheimer's or a dementia test, and the guy said, "Oh, I don't know. Look, she didn't know who the Prime Minister was." And my dad's like, "Well, who bloody knows?"
It's so true.
No, she said Abbott when it was like Turnbull, and the dad's like, "Well, but the bloody only changed 6 months ago."
What is it? We had 7 in 11 years, or is it 11 in 7 years or something? I remember it was
Incredible.
7-11. That's all I remember.
Man.
So,
All right, you have a crack. I don't. Gough, Whitlam, and milk. All right, go on.
let me have a think. I'm going to say that Gough Whitlam. I'm just going to say he brought it. Maybe he. See, when was he in? He was in 72 to 75. He may have well stopped it.
Oh, yep.
But I'm just thinking, why would he stop it though? Because he was one for giving, not for taking.
Yeah.
I'm going to say stopped it.
I was going to say the same thing, but I'll say that I was going to say he introduced it, but I know that it was
before his time. He was out by 75.
I'm going to say he was a milk monitor. That was a famous thing of Gough Whitlam. He was a milk monitor.
That was his first role.
That was his first government public service role.
Okay, what is it?
What is the answer?
Free milk at Australian schools was stopped by Prime Minister Gough Whitlam in 1973 after it was found to be poor value for money. The Whitlam Labor government is also remembered for making university free and bringing the troops home from the Vietnam War. Labor and Wetland lost the next election in 1975 to Malcolm Fraser of the Liberal Party. The free school milk program has yet to be revived, though some have tried the latest thing, Nick Xenophon, in 2016. There's more information and links to the answer in the show notes.
There you go. Oh, well, it had to be in that window. You would have to think that he was the one that did it.
Polished it. Got rid of it.
Got rid of it.
You have been listening to Somehow Related with Glenn Robbins and Dave O'Neill.
You know what else Gough Whitlam did? Double J.
Oh, yeah, he started up...
It started as Double J.
In Sydney, yeah.
And then it went... And we
Went
used
national.
to... When we were down the coast, if we got into a certain position on the coast, we could get Double J
wow.
in Melbourne.
In Melbourne.
And it was very cool.
It was very
and then
cool.
it went to Triple J, which is also very good. I did an interview in Triple J. Gee, they're great
cool,
presenters.
man. They're very cool,
but they
man.
don't try to be cool.
They always get criticised for being too Sydney, very Sydney.
Oh, do they?
Well, these days, yeah. Because I'm ex Triple R, so they were like the traditional enemy, of course.
Oh,
Triple
really?
J. And when they went national, they sacked a lot of their. There was this great moment when they went. What would have been the late '80s when they went national, and they broadcast it all, and people were storming the studios and stuff. And,
Really?
Yeah, and like a guy was getting sacked, and they didn't want to get sacked, and they were protesting on air and stuff. But yeah, I haven't listened to Triple J for a long time, actually.
But that's
I used to listen
interesting
to it a lot.
because you've got what is it the ABC do radio wise? They do
Radio National.
Well, if it wasn't for the ABC, this show that you're listening to right now would not exist. Can we tell that story?
Yeah, of course we can. They asked us to come up with a
show
podcast idea,
and you said, "I've got this idea about two ideas that aren't related but actually are related," and then we pitched that idea, and we went. Will we say why they didn't take it?
They said they wanted a female host, didn't they?
We said, but you did
We
not.
said it's a two-hander.
It's a two-hander. And
we've
why
ended
didn't you
up-
ask for a female at the start? And they went, "No, well, we've decided now that we want a female." I went, "Okay, well, we'll have an adjudicator who's female." No, you can't do that.
Yeah.
I say, "Well, hang on. Now you're creating the idea. Now you've taken over the creation of the idea."
Well, this is why we're talking. I don't know whether it was on this episode or the last episode. When you get an idea and then you get producers and management involved, they always fucking up.
It's weird. I know you got to. It's like the HBO.
You got to keep your
thing.
idea solid.
Well,
and and that's why those guys that we have all worked with, me and you, the Working Dog guys, they keep their ideas precious and safe and don't let anyone interfere.
That's right.
Because they're and that's the way you should do it.
But
unfortunately, that's the way it happens for most people, though.
If I'm approaching you to do something, there's a reason why I'm approaching you because I like what you do.
Yeah.
No, so therefore, I should trust your judgment and going, okay, I'm going to let you do your idea. If it doesn't work, we're going to have a chat. But initially, I'm going to let you be faithful to what your idea is.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, well, why are you approaching me then? Yeah, it's almost like you feel like saying, well, you come up with the idea if you've got other ideas.
If you've got, exactly.
If you want to corrupt this, what's the point of you asking me what I want to do? Oh, gee, we're getting a bit...
It's getting very
Well,
political
may you
here.
say we can't do our podcast because nothing will save the ABC.
Oh, hang on, I'm just going to message you. Eddie Maguire wants to host our show. Is that cool? Yeah, that's cool, Eddie. Yeah. Channel 9 next week.
Well, that's all right. Fine if Channel 9 wants to take it. Yeah. Anyway.